Welcome, my friends. The night of the nights has come. The night of the nights. Open your heart and your mind. Move to the rhythm and dance into your own beautiful reality. Beautiful reality. Feel free and expect the unexpected.
Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. Now guys, this is one of those videos that's gonna make me sound a bit weird. Because for a person like myself, for those of you who have been on this channel for a while, you know that I'm a pragmatist. Anything that I can see, feel, hear, touch, or perceive through any of my senses directly does not exist. And it's the same level of pragmatism that I approach all aspects of my life, and it affects all aspects of my thought processes. So why would I come up with a title like this to say Duppy killing babies in England? Make me sound like that is clickbait or something. But hold on, I'm going to tell you something, and please, I don't know, I can save lives and stop a lot of tragedies and bereavement just by listening to what I have to say. So how did I come about even bringing up a matter like this? I'm going to tell you. Last week I got a call from a young lady. She is the daughter of one of my very good friends. You know, I watched her grow, and as a grown woman, she eventually went to London to study. While there, she met a gentleman, a white man, let me say. Don't have a problem with prejudice, but there you go. Because his being white is very significant to what I have to say. They eventually got married. And they are both living together over there and seem to be a happy couple. Well, they're not so happy because guess what now? A lot of ruckus is being caused in the marriage because they now have a baby. And that little boy is now 3 months old. As a matter of fact, I think he will be 4 months in a matter of days. But the father has been insisting from he reached 3 months that he should stay in his own room. They have a room. The father, when she got pregnant, the father actually bought a house. He also set up a special room for the baby, equipped it with everything that the baby needs. He even went as far as buying a playpen, though the baby not even ready for the playpen for another maybe 18 months or whatever. But the problem is in the relationship now is that the young lady called me and asking me how she should approach this. Reason being, the husband is insisting that the baby must sleep in his room to give him and her time to spend together at nights. In other words, he wants to snuggle up to her and he feels that the baby is taking up time that he is supposed to get. The mother insisted, no, I want the baby to sleep. I feel more comfortable for the baby sleeping beside me. But he cannot understand that she wants the baby to sleep beside her. And there is a reason for that. She said that when she was at work, one of her co-workers, because she worked in a lawyer's office, and one of her co-workers had a baby that suffered from what is known as sudden infant death syndrome. Now, sudden infant death syndrome is a thing where you just put your healthy baby to bed. And next morning you wake up, the baby is just dead. It normally happens to kids between 2 months and 18 months. And she said when it happened to our co-worker, to that young baby, that mother took it so hard that she was depressed and she was almost suicidal because she loved her baby. And because this lady was her good friend, she felt the woman's pain tremendously. She said that on top of that, she herself suffered a miscarriage when she was 6 months pregnant, and she never got over it. So now that this baby is born healthy, she is extremely protective of this baby, and she doesn't feel comfortable leaving the baby on its own, because all she's thinking is that she don't know if she's gonna wake up next morning and go back in the room and find the baby healthy. Or should I say, find the baby alive. However, her husband doesn't seem to be understanding any of this. He just doesn't see where in his culture, baby sleep in another room. Baby not sleep with parents. And she grew up seeing babies sleep with their parents, up until they start walking and talking and everything. Or at least be in the same room, even a crib beside the bed. And she doesn't feel comfortable, because what happened is that she go into the baby's room and there's another bed inside there, and she actually climb on the bed and sleep with the baby and left her husband in the matrimonial bed by himself. And this is causing some kind of a rift in the relationship. She's trying, why she called me was to ask me to give her some support, or to tell her if she's being overly concerned or protective, because basically she wants to save her marriage. She wants her marriage to last. She loves her husband, but she loves her baby too. And she wanted me to assure her that she's not overreacting and that everything is going to be fine. And in all honesty, I really could not tell her that everything was going to be fine. And I put this down to the very prevalent cases of sudden infant death syndrome. They call it SIDS, but it's more popularly known in England as cot death. You just put your baby to sleep in the night, just put your baby to sleep just like that. Healthy baby in every sense of the term, and next morning you wake up, the baby dead. Sometimes they go check on the baby partially in the night to see if they need changing or feeding, and the baby dead. Just like that. In Australia, roughly 100 babies a year die suddenly, just like that, from the same cot death or sudden infant death syndrome. In Britain, roughly 300 babies die every single year between Scotland, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England. Every single year. In the United States, every year, it's 1,000, roughly between 1,003 and 1,500 babies die a year from the same cot death in the United States of America. And this is something that scientists have been studying since the 1970s, when it became prevalent and people realized that babies were just dying just like that out of the blue, clear blue sky. And after 40 years of studying cat death, scientists are no closer to finding out what on earth is causing this thing. They tried everything. Anytime a case of cat death occurs, what the authorities do is to try to find out what the situation was, the home situation at the time, in terms of the environment in which the baby was sleeping. And there is one thing was very similar with every single case, is that the baby was in a room by itself. In every single case. No young baby who slept with the mother or slept with an adult died. Now, if this was anything physical or physiological or anything to do with biology, believe me, the scientists would have found that out a long time, because what they did, they checked the temperature in the rooms, they checked the air in the environment, they checked the amount of different chemicals in the dead babies' bodies. They find out whether the lighting was right, the type of clothing, the type of food the baby ate. They checked everything, and there was nothing there for them to even start an investigation, no matter how they tried. But here is a similarity. In Australia, roughly 100 of those babies die every year, and not one was from the native Aborigines population. It was only from the white people them. In the United Kingdom, it was the same thing. Also in the United States. Of course, there were one or two in certain states, and it only happened in certain states where there were more white than black, and where whites were more or less culturally oriented towards Caucasian tendencies. And here's another thing. I checked for SIDS cases in Jamaica. And after going through endless research on the internet with the Ministry of Health websites and everything, and there has not been one single case of sudden infant death syndrome in Jamaica. Full stop. Not one. And guess what? Jamaican people, by culture, we sleep with our young babies. We not put our 3-year-old baby in a crib in our next room. If our baby is in a crib, they are the bedside. This is just an aspect of Jamaican culture. And this also applies. I check for Kenya, I check for Uganda, I check for South Africa, and it's the same thing. African babies born in Africa, do not die from sudden infant death syndrome or cat death. Now, if these white scientists were putting 2 and 2 together, they would must figure that there is something else, not of this world, something out of everything that we know and see around us that are killing those babies. Now, I don't know what it is. I would be tend to say Duppy, but it could be, I don't know, it can be invisible men, real men who just up in invisible costume come just put some clothes off them nostrils, or it could be outer space aliens who come down, beam themselves down like Star Trek and come in the room and do something. Because since it is nothing physical, it's not anything that can be identified as human or of this world, then it have to be, and I don't know what it is, but failing to be able to identify it, we just call it say a Duppy. But scientists isn't finding it for nearly 40 years now, because from the 1970s, so that make it 40 odd years. And from those times, they might look and can't find nothing, and they're not looking in another direction. You know what I told her? I told her, I said, listen, if your marriage has to end, let it end. Sleep with your baby. If the marriage has to end, let it end. Choose your baby over your husband. He has got to understand that, I know, so you do it at Jamaica, and you don't know it like that. You were born here. You never born in England. So culturally, you would sleep with your baby. And that having lost, having had a miscarriage in the first place, would have traumatized you a lot. And you're still affected by that. And also, the fact that you had a friend who had a similar case, had a case of cat death, and you had to give so much support to, it makes you much more fearful of having such a situation reach you. And that's what I told her. And I honestly would not tell her to let her baby sleep in other room. Because culturally, me no grow so either. My people them sleep in my bed until them, all when them two them can jump in there, if them come in them in and run them out. But that is the difference between Europeans and people of African descent. We know that there are things out there, things that come not, that are not of this earth, things exist outside of the realm of reality that we know. I don't know what they are, and I don't know how to categorize them, or I can't even describe what exists. But we are not alone. And things can affect us. Entities are out there. I don't know where they travel through a different portal. They exist on a different plane of existence, and they can affect us sometime. And these things can be malevolent and can affect human life and bring destruction on us. And you know, as a young baby, this is something a young baby would be more susceptible to any effect or any bad effect that such an entity can bring. And therefore, I would not give her any other advice, because that and also me grow, and that's not how Jamaicans roll. And I don't know if that's the cause, but I won't put it to anything else, because based on the empirical evidence that I have, that mothers that sleep, parents that sleep with those babies never lose their babies, and that is good enough for me. So guys, I don't know what you think. Do any of you think that I should give her such a drastic advice? And two, do any of you actually think that there is things exist outside of our realm of existence, our plane of the natural earth that we know? Is there anything supernatural out there that can affect a young baby? Because since scientists have been searching for over 40 years and can't to this day have a clue, don't we think they're looking, it's time them look elsewhere to see what's going on? Well, we know in Jamaica, we have figured it out because we are Africans, and we are aware that things exist outside of what we know of, outside of our reality. And therefore, no Jamaican baby I got dead that way there. Right? So that was my advice to her. Now guys, I'd just like you to tell me what you think in the comment section. If you think that anything can go like that, or if you think that I'm like her, barking up the wrong tree. Thanks for watching. Like, share, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.